I'm going to go ahead and write each of the following as an algebraic expression in terms of x. All right, so this is very similar from our last examples, which it didn't have the variable x in there, but you're going to see that they're going to be very similar from the last examples. Okay, so we want to take the sine of arc cosine of 3x. So just as we did in our last problem, let's let u, okay, let's let u equal arc cosine of 3x. Arc cosine of 3x. All right? Well, that implies something. If I take the cosine of both sides, if I take the cosine of u, I'm going to have cosine of u. And if I take the cosine of arc cosine of 3x, notice is that the cosine and the arc cosine will cancel out, and that's why we just have 3x. So we have cosine of u equals 3x. Okay, and again, this only works when it falls within a certain domain, and as you can see here, this is why we had to restrict it. This isn't going to be always true, only within a restricted domain, and this is going to give us our case so that we can do this nice little tricky business. Okay, well, if we have the cosine of u equals 3x, we can go ahead and create a right triangle. Okay, and let's just remember it has to be in between 0 and pi, and we know it can't be in quadrant 2 because or else that would mean that our cosine would be negative, so it has to be positive. So that's why I'm going to put my right triangle over here. Okay, so if this is my u, well, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So I'm going to put 3x over 1. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get our third side of our triangle, and I'm going to call this a so I could solve for a variable. So I'm going to go and use Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus 3x squared equals 1 squared, and that is a 3. Okay, so I'm doing 1 squared equals a squared plus 3 squared. All right, just using Pythagorean theorem. Let's go ahead and solve for a. So I'm going to get a squared plus 9x squared equals 1. Let's move this over there. X squared equals 1 minus 9x squared. And lastly, I'm going to go ahead and divide, or actually take the square root. So a equals the square root of 1 minus 9x squared. So that's a right here. So I'm going to go ahead and just set that equal to the square root of 1 minus 9x squared. Okay, so now that we have our right triangle, let's go back over here, right? We're trying to find the sine of arc cosine of 3x, where this whole thing is equal to what? To u. So really, I'm going to replace this whole thing with u. So all I have to find is what is the sine of u. Well, look, sine of u is just opposite over adjacent. I'm sorry, opposite over hypotenuse. So the answer is just going to be the square root of 1 minus 9x squared. And we just found sine of arc cosine of 3x. Now, if we look at part B, notice how what's inside of our parentheses is the same setup. So if you were to start all over again, you would get the exact same right triangle. Okay, and so if I replace this right here with u, so really the only thing that I need to do is just find the cotangent of u. So I'm going to find the cotangent of u, and let's remember here, cotangent is the opposites of tangent. So if this is my u, tangent is opposite over adjacent. So if I flip that, then the cotangent is going to be 3x all over the square root of 1 minus 9x squared. And that's going to be the answer for part B. The cotangent of u is adjacent over hypotenuse, which is 3x over 1 minus 9x squared.